So let's see how this works, Amy. I will stream, well, not stream, but record, replay, review, and then let's see. I don't know if either I upload it to my personal YouTube account or to the FAF one. I have no idea yet, so we'll see. So right now you should be able to see FAF. I hope everything works. I will check later on. And let's dive right in. Again, your game against the Panzer guy. You lost 3 times in a row now. So, I'm not aware that I've played this map very often, but I've seen it in a couple of 1v1s. So what you usually want to do is kinda get an early factory here, and make sure you send some tanks here to get this area. And from here you want to pressure your opponent, and in the meantime you basically decide to go with your comm, say this way to grab the reclaim for example, or you go this way. But I feel like usually the way to go is this way. And at some point the comms are gonna meet in mid, and you have some nice puddles to hide in if you have to, if you're fighting in the choke points here. And that's basically how this map usually works. There's some trees. I'm not 100% sure if those are tree groups. I guess we will find out in a second. And yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of maxes, but there's enough maxes and you can somehow raid in this area. So for example, if you don't get a factory up here, and they actually manage to sneak units up here all the time, those maxes are just gonna die for free. So, sorry. Therefore, it's important to get a factory up here. So, and then you gotta fight for whatever you have on the map, you know? Just keep raiding, make sure you get this. Maybe try to play for this and play this side safe. This is at least what my approach would be. Because those maxes here are less easy to raid because of this choke point here. And here it's probably easier to get past the choke point because you're not closer to the... You're further away here from the base still. And you can raid those maxes very relatively easily at some point if people don't pay attention. So we'll see how this turns out in the end. What we can see right away, your raiding group is idle, you go second air, you've played this guy for a couple of times, so you're afraid of any bombers hitting you early. I get that. But again, raiding groups, idle. Should not happen. So you're sending your engineer down here, okay. Like, sending all your raiding groups to the top now is a mistake. So at least have one, say, in this choke point here, while the engineer is expanding here. And once you move on, say you move towards here, grabbing the reclaim with the engineer, or here, you bring the engineer, you like bring the tank with you, you know, like just protect your expansion basically. Same here. So third tank should be going here. Eco is kinda looking okay. What I don't like is that you already idle engineers here. So you will get more engineers out right now. So you're just on engine production right now. These two could be assisting the comm here. Next one could be expanding this here, for example, here, grabbing the resources. Yeah, now one engineer is going for it. But like, what is this again? Like, you want the rally point, the attack move, you want to start on the reclaim. Like, have a move command here, and have an attack move command, say, towards here. But make sure you have a waypoint on the reclaim, so you start reclaiming on the valuable parts. You got this, which is great, but you cannot be stuck here now. He will definitely send something to reinforce, but he has no vision. Imagine moving the tank here and not idling it. Let's speed this up a bit. It's a full 10 by 10, so you don't want to build only factories in your base, but you want to build more factories. And you need to move your comm out. It's minute 5. And we're flowing all the mass in the world, because we're not building anything anymore. And again, like, you had idle engineers in your base. The problem is you sent all of them out to do this now. Basically, you could have sent like one engineer expanding this, one engineer expanding this, and then just like, I mean, you had one engineer going here, this guy could reclaim here. You had one guy at the bottom here, this one could actually reclaim here or here. Like say, you reclaim with the engineer here, and your comm now goes here to this reclaim pile. This would be a good coverage of getting the reclaim here in this area, 100%. In the meantime, you could try to send tanks here and try to deny this part of the map. But you're sending too many engineers out of your base is what I'm trying to say. Like, you're not spending your mass. You didn't scale. Two scouts idle in your base. Okay, using one now. You saw the bombers. That's good. You know what helps against these guys that constantly use bombers? You can actually patrol a scout in these areas, you know? So you can see those bombers early. And then you could just park your inties somewhere in mid here. And then you could go left or right to intercept. And as you noticed, there is one tank here, but you only made your own interceptors, but you didn't make a single bomber. So against such stray units, a single bomber is very, very efficient, you know, just make sure they grab it. And that's it. He's very offensive with the comm. You already have a PD down there, that's good. Unfortunately, you're on the other side of the map. And again, you know, you have intel on those here. But like, why are you sending like 2 tanks and a scout to deal with this? While there are at least 4 tanks and a hunter. So you will just lose those anyway, you know? Just wait for like 2 or 3 more tanks and then engage. Like, wait for these guys here. And this guy here. And if you had sent all 5 of them, you would have crushed this, could have taken the reclaim, and you could have moved up here, for example, again. But this is how you lose your units again. Because, you know, you split them up again. We know about the comm being here, so moving in is a good idea. Ignoring the comm might actually be a good catch here if you take out both factories. That would be pretty decent, actually. Should be on unit priority, and the problem is with those bombers, you need to keep moving. So what you should do is set those on unit priority and rally them like around the pond, you know, like keep them moving. So no arty and no bombers can hit them as easily. That's what the priority mods are for, you know. And again, because you were afraid of this guy now, or this raid here, you kept all your units in base, and therefore you... Are we losing all our inties? No. Okay. But you, generally speaking, you're just too slow, not gonna lie. Like, re-expanding this doesn't happen, you're sending 3 engineers to 1 point again. Still no factory up here, so these would be free maxes for you, this as well probably. All you need to do is early factory here, PD up here, and then you fight in this area. And you would be okay. If you had units in this area, you could swing here and here. Just like with the intis, if you place them here and send them left or right, you know? Just make sure you sit in the middle of everything and can send stuff left and right, kinda. All you need to have then is actually radar coverage, and I don't see you having a single radar. So that's another big issue for you right now. So you don't see anything. And you're not spending your mass either. Not at all. Either you go for more factories or you go for T2. And it feels like you've stopped scouting. Because you're just suiciding in here, you know? I don't know why. So you know you're scared of the comm being under attack because you lost the fight here. And you have no clue what's in this area, and therefore you just hide in the pond instead of using your comm that is still worth 20 tanks. And you're overflowing kinda, let's say, a third to half of your income partially. Should not happen. If they just properly eco, you just... I mean, he's as bad as you on ecoing right now, but he's at least T2. And has a pigeon already. You've lost several fights earlier. Like, what is the Guncom gonna do for you? I mean, the choke point here is okay to use the Guncom, you know? But it's much more valuable to have more units and to cut down, say, this area of the map and just pin him to the corner here, kinda. And constantly raid here and here, maybe here. So same for you here. If you had... I mean, he's now in the most stupid position ever. If you had scouted this, you could have even swung everything here and just killed this guy for free. Even all your tank production would be enough to let it sit here. As long as he doesn't go T2 air and can ferry his commander back, he's basically trapped in that corner. You should never move into that wing here. Never. But your biggest problem is gonna be that he's on like at least 3 T2 factories already and you still don't have T2. You're upping it right now, okay. As you can tell, it's single trees on this map, so don't prioritize it if you play it. And now you just lose, and it's not even due to the bombers he built, it's just about you not properly expanding, him going T2 and you not being T2 at minute 13. So this time it's just about you being slow. And not having any intel, you know, you have like 20 engineers here, but you don't consider making a single radar here. You've lost the fight here now, but you're not making PD to protect your production here. You're losing this, but you're not coming up with PD here, kinda. I mean, I will fast forward this, so I assume he's just gonna crush you with T2, not gonna lie. Because you don't have anything. You're already on half his income, kinda. That's probably due to an E issue for going gun. He's starting T3 on 60 income, and you have a gun comp. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, this was not about him having any bombers or whatever, it was just about you being too slow and gaining map control and actually ecoing up on that, you know, like all the reclaim here is still there. This was a lost fight, but the reclaim here is still there. You've won a bunch of fights here earlier, so this reclaim is still here. I know it's a pain to deal with it if there's like all the single trees, but you actually need to click it if you want it early. Or you at least need to make sure that you say, for example, a waypoint here towards here. So they start inevitably with a high value reclaim. And it, like I said, it's just about you not properly having ecoed. Like he's even behind on reclaim, so he just was even worse on reclaiming. Which is a shame, but like, this guy's just 700 or whatever he is, so I don't blame him. But I know that you usually do better, so this was just not a good performance. And I assume you were just scared of playing him again because you lost twice, so I don't know. All I can say is just play your own game and don't let him dictate what the game pace is gonna be or whatever, you know. Just make sure you're being proactive. And big big thing about being proactive is actually having intel, you know? Intel is king. Those bombers don't do shit. They just seem scary, and they are scary if you don't know how to utilize drops, for example, you know? Because he can kill your maxes all here, and it will take forever if you just walk out of your base again to re-expand it. Like, if you have a drop back here, like a transport, it doesn't matter if he kills a single T1 max. I wouldn't even care. But yeah, let's see how this video turned out and if I can upload it actually. I hope it will help you.